Returns have been incredibly concentrated in the last week. The picture almost looks like Mickey Mouse. In this video, we're not going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Worldcoin instead. Why is Worldcoin one of the major outperformers? Who is buying here? Who is selling here? What's actually driving the price? Let's have a look at the data most people are not considering. Now here's what most people follow. We've got an announcement of another treasury company. HCO Holdings is planning to buy $250 million worth of WLD. And as a consequence, the price is rallying massively. Now at the beginning of this rally, we did not have any news. The only thing we had was an announcement regarding a cooperation with a university in Peru around quantum computing. But it seems like maybe it wasn't that quantum computing news that caused the initial surge. Maybe this is already insider knowledge of the upcoming treasury company purchases. And so there was already a video on Worldcoin regarding the fundamentals published yesterday. And that video performed according to the average video on this channel. Initially, nobody was interested, but with the secondary rally, we do see more views now. The average video, by the way, is here, this area in gray. The line in blue is the video of Worldcoin that was published yesterday. Now, Worldcoin has its own chain, and that's the World chain. And the total value locked, so the capital on that chain, is going up with the recent rally. Still, it's only at 82 million, while the market cap of Worldcoin is at 3.7 billion. Measured in Worldcoin, the total value locked actually went down. We do not have any data that the World chain is suddenly growing. It's rather stable. Here is the app revenue over time, and here is the bridged total value locked. So there's really no long-term growth. It's not dying, but it's also not growing. The Worldcoin price relative to Ethereum did go down long-term though. This is a logarithmic chart, and even after this recent rally, Worldcoin still underperformed ETH by 63%. And that's over the course of roughly 2 years, a bit more than that. Here's Worldcoin relative to Bitcoin. That underperformed by 78%. And yes, there might be some resistance here, but we have seen stronger rallies in the past. From top to bottom, the price increased here by 230%. And so far, the outperformance is only 120%. Here's Worldcoin relative to all of the other altcoins. Again, a long-term underperformance, 69%. And again, we are at a potential turnaround. There is a resistance here, but we have seen a stronger rally in the past. Now, where does all of this underperformance come from against Bitcoin, against Ethereum, and against the other altcoins? Now, against Bitcoin and Ethereum, it might make sense to see the asset underperform because there's a lot of buying pressure for Bitcoin and Ethereum through the treasury companies and through the ETFs. But why is Worldcoin still underperforming versus most other altcoins? The reason is, of course, token inflation. So there's more and more tokens hitting the market. The supply is expanding very rapidly. And when supply expands faster than the demand, then the price tends to go down. The tokenomics of Worldcoin were not pretty at all. We went from 522 million Worldcoin to now close to 4 billion Worldcoin. So that's almost an 8x. Yet the market cap is at an all-time high. And so there's never been as much capital in the Worldcoin project, but the price is going down again because the insiders, the early investors, etc., they get new and new tokens over time and they dump those tokens on the market. So the price is going down, but the valuation of the project is going up. If you're not part of the early investors and the insiders and the team, then of course you're getting hurt by that selling pressure. Now this chart could give us a potential trading range. We've already got the relative valuations, but let's look at this market cap chart. So here's just a red line connecting the bottoms, a parallel line to that, to the top. And yes, even with that recent rally, we are not yet at the upper end. We could also connect the recent two tops, and there we might be a bit closer to a rally. So the picture looks very similar, as in we do have a potential resistance right now, but there is still the chance of a breakout and a further rally of roughly 100% from here. Now, I believe that it's really the bets on the price, the perpetual futures, that are currently impacting WLD the most. Because have a look at the trading volume in the last 24 hours on the spot market. We've got 718 million on Bithumb, again on spot, but compare this with the perpetual futures. Here we had 3.5 billion worth of trading volume on Binance. So really, the price discovery happens on the perpetual futures. And most people on the perpetual futures market are actually betting on rising prices. The funding rate is still positive. So the longs have to pay the shorts to bet on further rising prices. Most people think that this rally will continue and will not turn around here. The trading volume on the perps has hit a new all-time high with 8 billion. The trading volume has never been that high before. And there is a bit of correlation between the trading volume on Worldcoin and its spot price. The spot price being in yellow and the trading volume being in green. The shorts get massively liquidated. I also bet on falling prices of Worldcoin. I shared this in the prior video on this channel. I unfortunately already got stopped out of that position. So I don't have any stake in any direction in Worldcoin right now. One argument for a turnaround right now that we could already deflate at the current price level as opposed to another 100% rally is the open interest. Open interest is at an all-time high. So there's never been more than 700 million worth of bets on the Worldcoin price in the past. And again, just have a look at how much the open interest correlates with the price. When there's more open interest, when more people bet on the price is high. When the open interest deflates, the price tends to go down as well. I think it's very likely that Worldcoin will continue to underperform long term because of the tokenomics. But how long will this short squeeze last? Are we going to turn around now? Are we going to turn around after another 50% rally? Will it take another 100% to turn around? I don't know. The market cap is currently at close to 4 billion. And my impression is with that much short-term leverage in the asset, that Worldcoin is almost getting traded similarly to a meme coin right now. And meme coins tend to turn around somewhere between $2 billion and $6 billion in market cap. So I don't think that Worldcoin will be at 10 billion anytime soon. But again, I do not have an answer when we are going to see that turn around. It's very hard to time. I already burnt myself with Worldcoin with the recent rally. And there are two potential approaches here, right? Either we go long, as the majority of perpetual futures traders do, and we just set a trailing stop loss. So we exit very quickly once the token starts to deflate again, or we bet against the current momentum and hope for the deflation to happen rather sooner than later. I'm currently waiting it out. I'm waiting until all of the attention on Worldcoin comes down again. And I might revisit the asset at a later point in time. Maybe after we've seen a secondary short squeeze, similar to what we saw in February of last year. We started deflating, then came a secondary short squeeze, and then came the final sell-off. Maybe something similar will happen again. Now let's talk about something a bit more fundamental here. Most people try to chase the pump, right? They try to find the next 5 or 10x meme coin, maybe 100x, maybe 1000x. And the reason why there are so many videos on YouTube about the next 100 or 1000x meme coin is because it sells very well. Most people just want to turn $100 into $10,000 or $1,000 into $100,000. Most people don't want to risk much and then get the very high asymmetric return. The problem with that thinking is that it's not very far away from just gambling, from just buying lottery tickets, swinging the fences, hoping for the home run. But let's say you do make the return with a lucky bet. How likely are you actually going to keep those wins? There are a lot of news articles where lottery winners spend all of their money and then get bankrupt. There's even aggregate articles here. The top 7 Florida lottery winners lost everything. And so really, the vast majority of people fails at finding the next SPX token or the next virtual token. Most people just burn their money, similar to buying lottery tickets. 1/3 of all lottery winners lose their money within 3 to 5 years. You might remember this guy, right? The Dogecoin millionaire. He even went on podcasts, for example here, with Graham Stephan, who's very conservative with investing. And yeah, the Dogecoin millionaire did not sell the top. Now I try to be different on this channel. I don't sell the next 100x meme coin. I think it's much better to try to find ways to compound the current wealth quickly but steadily. Really, once you get serious about investing, you don't need 100x or 1000x. It's not needed. Instead, what's better is to use systematic approaches that historically worked very, very well. For example, this here, right? I talked about this in the past on this channel. This is a backtest that I made for the best moving average for Bitcoin. If you bought and held Bitcoin, you would have gotten this white line over here. But if you timed the market using the 120-day simple moving average, you would have gotten 100% compounded every year. You're doubling your money every year, and this is absolutely massive over time. There's no need to gamble. We can simply just compound our money. Now this is just a back test, but here is my own data. So if I just dollar cost average into Bitcoin, I would have gotten this line in gray. But because I time the market with moving averages and with relative valuation bets, I got this line here in black. And I'm not just doing back tests or simulations of trading. I'm also not just showing my own data. I also started now trading for the community here. So the start was on the 10th of July, and so far we've got an annualized return of 79%. Very similar to what I got and what the backtest suggests as well. Fundamentally, being able to constantly compound capital over the long term is much more useful than trying to find the next lucky home run. You don't want to gamble. You don't want to end up buying scratch tickets. Instead, even though it's not sexy, it's really better to focus on the long term. It's really better to try to figure out where is there actually mispricing in the market. Where can we get constant alpha? Where can we actually invest larger amounts? Because that's the problem with those meme coin bets, right? We already get into this with the anticipation that there's a good chance that this goes to zero. Thus, we can't invest a lot of capital in this. We already have to psychologically diversify. We just bet a little bit of money hoping for this to do 100x. We can't really seriously invest. But once we reduce our volatility, once we use trading approaches that tend to appreciate relatively constantly, suddenly we can deploy much more capital as well. Because besides just the return here, right, the 79% APR, what I'm actually most proud of is the maximum drawdown of only 2.3%. It's about being able to have the best risk-adjusted return. The question should not be what's the next 100x meme coin. The question really should be, is there a way to become a better investor long term? And so I made actually a poll among the premium members of this channel. So that's over here. Has premium helped you improve as an investor? And 86% said yes. This is another number I'm very proud of. I'm quite sure that for most other memberships, this number would be much, much lower. Fundamentally, I think that any investing is a game of both luck, but also of skill. We have to maximize our expected return. We do not know what's going to happen in the future, but we can try to figure out what are the probabilities. What's really our risk versus return. And I've created a lot of content around this. How can we manage our risk? How can we maximize our return? How can we properly diversify? How can we find the right opportunities within crypto while not risking everything? In case you're familiar, it's a little bit like poker. As in, we do not know what the next card will be, but in general, we should bet more money when we've got a high chance of winning. We might not win with double aces, but the chance of winning is comparatively high. We should, in most cases, bet a lot of money. And so feel free to check it out. It's currently $125 per month. If you do not like premium, just message me within the first week and I'll refund you 100%, no questions asked. But if you're willing to spend some time, if you're willing to watch some videos, learn about investing, I'm quite sure that the likelihood is very high that you're becoming a better investor as a result of joining premium. Now, a link to premium should pop up directly here on the screen. Just click on that. It will lead you to the website. If it's your very first time here, feel free to subscribe. I publish this regularly. A like would be very much appreciated as well. It helps the channel grow. See you next time on YouTube or see you in premium. Cheers.